Hey guys, hope you're well. Just a quick one as promised. I'm just going to do the weekly sports review as like what I normally do. So, a few things to discuss. One is the Wimbledon, the final, the Ashes Test, England's brilliant win, and women's football, the England football team. And that's exactly where I want to start with as well. So, those of you who don't know, England's women's football team got through to the semi-finals, which I've been reliably told is the best position for an England team in the last 50 years. Which I'm really happy about that they've done this well. Me, for one, didn't expect them to do this well. So it was a pleasant surprise because I thought of, like Brazil, maybe even like Canada as well would outperform them. But it just goes to show, and it's just a point to the mainstream media as well. If you keep the expectations realistic, the England team can go far, and the semi final is a good achievement. And always to beat the Germans never goes amiss. So, all in all, England have had a brilliant tournament. They fielded a lot of youngsters as well. I mean, like Enia Luca was on the bench, and I think she's a really good player. But it's very bold and brave managerial choices by Mark Sampson. Um, yeah, so full credit to him, even though he is a Welshman. But there you have it. But no, on a serious note, he was very bold. Good team selection, good squad selection, and good mental spirit in the sense of they always they always seemed to have an answer to any challenge that they had in the tournament. So it was very good performance. And against Japan, they were very unlucky. One of those things. I mean, Japan's high pressing style obviously would cause most teams. Sorry, I meant to say England's high pressing style. Sorry, would cause a team like Japan problems because Japan are a team who like to pass it, put the ball down on the floor, as they say, possession based. But England in that semi final played really well. Their keeper, I say their keeper, Japan's keeper, had to make a lot of saves and they hit the bar, so very unlucky. It was only just a freakish on goal that made the difference in the end. But that England team is going places. They're up to fifth now in the world. I think Japan's fourth, but no, they should keep Mark Sampson. And the reason why I want to bring this point about the England women's team is the fact that one, obviously what we just discussed before, when you keep expectations reasonable, you can get far. And second thing, I hope maybe even Roy Hodgson could have a look. Just be a bit more brave. Make some good decisions in the sense of make some brave decisions, shall I say, sorry. Because they've got a very good under 21s team. I remember they did that last time where I think it, well, I can't remember the year, sorry, it's just slipped out of my head. Maybe it's the time of night that I'm doing this, but when Germany won the under, I think it was 2009, when they won the under 21s tournament, they beat England 4-0. In that senior team, obviously of 2014, a lot of players survived, like Özil, I think Kadira, but quite a few, I think even Neuer as well, quite a few of those under 21 players came through to the senior side. Now, Germany's opponents were Stuart Pearce's England, and they got beat 4-0. How many players, under 21 players, are in that England team now? My point exactly. So England need to adopt, I think, a similar strategy to Germany and maybe even their women's team as well, because they exceeded expectations. Because everybody thought they weren't going to do it, they can't do it. So really, I think the men's part of the game needs to take note of what's happened. with the ladies, because for me, for one, as a football writer, sports writer, pleasantly surprised. So I think England women's team can really hold their heads high, as they say. But yeah, I'm not going to talk about this topic anymore now. I'm just going to move on to my next topic, which is the cricket Ashes. Those of you who don't know, England, Australia are playing. Well, sorry, they've played the first test, which has now finished. Started on the 8th of July, and England have won it inside 4 days. Me, for one, with all the other journalists, have said England didn't stand a chance. Well, me personally, I didn't say they didn't stand a chance, but I just thought with Australia's fantastic batting lineup, you'll see it in my piece. I put it in my piece for Asian Sunday. For those of you who haven't seen it, you can find the e-copy of Asian Sunday on my Facebook wall and on my Twitter at Ayyaz AS News. But what I put in that piece was the fact that Stephen Smith, your Brad Haddins, David Warner, Chris Rogers, is really good batsmen. And to complement that, they've got good bowlers like Mitchell Stark, Mitchell Johnson, Josh Hazlewood. I thought they would overpower England in pretty much most departments. Yes, their team's older, but I just thought though the quality of their attack would overcome everything, so to speak. That was my opinion on it, but it proved to be, what do I know? Because England were fantastic. Mark Wood, one person who I did mention, who the Aussies might not know that much about. I tipped him to have a good game, and he didn't disappoint. He actually made a really good 30 as well, which proved to be the turning point. I think if it wasn't the fact that Joe Root in the first innings made 143, if that wasn't the turning point, then in my opinion, Mark Wood making that 32 was possibly. With Joe Root's 143, what made it all impressive was the fact that he was dropped on zero by the Australian wicketkeeper Brad Haddin. And then, yeah, he really did capitalise on that. Him and Gary Ballance, another player in my piece on Asian Sunday, said that I expect him to have a good series. Hadn't disappointed in the first innings. He made a nice little 70 odd. He looked like that fluent Gary Ballance that I know of. So yeah, very happy that was the case. Moeen Ali, I actually thought, and Moeen Ali as well, sorry, actually surprised me in the sense of I actually thought it's time to bring in Adil Rashid, but Moeen Ali probably read my piece, I can hope, and probably felt a bit upset by that and said, I can't be having this. I just need to prove he was wrong, and boy did he. Fantastic knock again. His knock was also crucial. So I can't really single one player out in this test match, because it really was, without sounding too cheesy, it really was a team effort, because Moeen Ali, as they say, he did accompany the tail really well. He made a 70 yard as well, and I think it was the last 2 or 3 wickets. It was about 100 for the last few wickets, but they managed to push to 440 England in the first innings, which is the first time they've done that since the last Ashes. Since the last Ashes, when Strauss was captain. Can't remember the year now, but they made 630 on that occasion. So this achievement of them getting 400 was a very good one, because I haven't done it for quite a while. But back to the actual test match itself, I think they, as in England cricket team, were very good in all departments, bowling Anderson was fantastic. Broad was fantastic. Moinelli was fantastic. He got crucial wickets. Clark had in Warner with his third ball. Mark Wood, with that bit of unpredictability as such, they might not have known much about him, the Aussies. So he managed to seize that. Even Joe Root as well, he managed to chip in with his part-time off-spin. I'm not one of those people who, if England lose one game, they're the worst team in the world. If they win one game, they're the best team in the world. But this Test match, Alistair Cook really had a blinder as a captain, because everything he did do did quite literally turn into gold. To be picky, would have wanted more scores from him, but it's a team game, I guess. And okay, he failed this time, but other players did contribute around him, like Ian Bell. Huge fan, massive fan of Ian Bell, and I'm so happy that he's turned his form around, because in the last Ashes in England, he was the player of the series, because he was England's go-to guy. Time after time after time, he kept bailing England out in that series, and he made a good contribution in the second innings, much more like the Ian Bell that I've known. Second test obviously will be starting soon. I don't think England will make any changes. I don't think they should do either. Well, heaven forbid, for their sake. If they get any injuries, then they'll obviously have to. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Alistair Cook, sir, you have cooked yourself in glory for this test, and for that, I salute you. Right, I'm just going to bring this on to the last topic, Wimbledon, which started late June, and we're coming to a conclusion tomorrow. You'll be able to find my piece for Asian Sunday on Wimbledon. I did a piece where I offered my thoughts on it, who's going to win and who's going to get far. To be a bit dull, for those of you who didn't read it, although you really should have, tut, is that my opinion is that I think Novak Djokovic, Andy Murray and Roger Federer would get far. By the time I'd written the piece, Rafael Nadal was already out, which was very, very, very upsetting for me. Yeah, and I had to get tissues to wipe away the tears, because I'm a big Rafael Nadal fan. But I managed to brave it through. I managed to toughen it up. Thanks. And I generally thought, to be a bit dull, but unfortunately men's tennis is a bit dull at the moment, I thought Novak Djokovic would go far, and I actually thought he would win it. Well, it's a Federer and Djokovic final, for those of you who don't know, and it's tomorrow. I'll be offering my thoughts on that as part of my work for Asian Sunday. Well, a review of that, and I've already given a review of the tournament, but it's just essentially a review of that final. And sorry, without going too much back on myself, so to speak, I'll be offering a match preview of the Ashes. But sorry, back to Wimbledon, as I did start that. Yeah, so in regards to Wimbledon, sorry to be a bit dull, but I generally don't see any further than Novak Djokovic winning the tournament. It will be his third Wimbledon, should he do so. I generally don't see anything stopping him. You've got to forgive me. I've just managed to gain hiccups in the middle of this, so if I just keep pausing, that's why. But anyway, Novak Djokovic, I don't see past him. I really, really don't. He's just a complete player. Obviously, he's got some form of bogey venue, if you will, at the French Open. He just keeps getting to the final. It's literally a case of always the bridesmaid, never the bride, as far as French Open is concerned. But whereas with Wimbledon, he's had some success where he's won the title. He's actually defending champion as well. So I generally don't see anything. I don't see past him. Sorry, Novak Djokovic in Sunday's final against Roger Federer. But that could be naive. I say that because, well, to me it seems like a dead cert. Roger Federer has not so won a title for a few years. He's getting towards the twilight of his career. But still, though, he is a fantastic player. As I say, well, not so much form is temporary, class is permanent, but with him, class is permanent. You can still see that this is a very skilled tennis player, a master of his trade, except for Novak Djokovic is just that bit better and probably that bit younger. That's probably the only difference. But his skills are still very much there. He had a brilliant performance to defeat Andy Murray, who is thankfully starting to look back to his best. Obviously had his back injury, but yeah, he is really starting to get back to his best now. Obviously the tournament before he won it, the Queens, sorry, I think it's called Queens. Wimbledon's the All England club. Sorry, but yeah, Andy Murray is starting to look back to his best, which is, as a tennis fan and of a Andy Murray fan, that's very, very, very encouraging. Obviously, we're going to have the US Open soon and the Aussie Open. Obviously, they will be coming up very, very soon. I think it's the US Open next, and then obviously the Tour Finals, the ATP event, come up soon as well. But Andy Murray is, yeah, he's looking very, very good. Just Roger Federer was better on the day. But as for the final, I am there to be shot at, so to speak. I really don't see past Novak Djokovic. If you were to get me to make a prediction, I would think Novak in 4. Mind you, though, I thought Rafael Nadal would win the French, and he got knocked out in the quarters. But yeah, okay. Let me put my neck out on the line there. Novak Djokovic to win Wimbledon in 4 sets. I was going to say that Serena to win Wimbledon, but mind you, that's already happened. So if I was to say that, that's not really a bold prediction, is it? It's already happened. But there you go. Guys, thank you very much for listening. You've done really well if you've listened this far. Yeah, essentially that's it. Take care. I hope you have a good night and peace out.